wonder what they're like. From our viewpoint, Professor, they're either suprahuman or subhuman.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to this surprise, unexpected, well, at least unannounced, Superliminal Films stream covering the top 16 match from the Old School Magic Summer Derby. Hey everybody, welcome. Hope you're having a great afternoon. I'm here, and I have a fellow who's actually been on this stream before. We commentated the Lightning Ball all the way back in November of 2020. Hey, Mano.
Hey, man. How are you? Glad to be here.
Doing all right. Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Got pretty corker of a match getting ready over here too. I think it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm having real trouble deciding who to root for, as Seth is an old friend at this point, but he keeps shying away from Serendipity Freet and playing garbage like White Knight over it. So I kind of don't want to root for him just on principle. At the same time, his opponent, Robbie, how do you say his name? Robbie Van Bockel, I believe?
I'm going to assume I did not ask for clarification, and now I feel bad about not having done so.
We probably should have done that, but he's playing a deck after my own heart, an Atog Berserk list featuring 4 Togs, 4 Vices, 2 Ankhs, 2 Winter Orbs, 3 Ernims, a Pile of Burn, and 2 Berserks as the cherry on top. So I think, all things considered, pun partially intended.
You did it. You said the thing.
I think I'm going to be rooting for the ATOG list, although I won't be sad either way, but my heart is with Berserking ATOGs. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know that you're wrong about your heart being, or the heart being with Berserking ATOGs. Though I just want to see Seth win because he's been on such a tear lately. I mean, his performance at Balance was nothing short of fantastic, and I'm quite looking forward to seeing a bit more of the same. So
I forgot about that. He 6-0'd your Balance event.
Yeah, he 6-0'd a 29-person event 6 days before starting his medical residency.
Right, but that wasn't. You say 29 people, but there were some ballers in that room that were trying to win. You know, this wasn't just.
And
a bunch
you were
of
there.
Scrubs. Yeah, I was one of the scrubs, but I was trying to Rasputin people out, and I was pretty happy with my 4-2.
There were some ballers who were trying to win and who did quite well, and I would say that a performance like he gave there showed a lot, and the fact that he's now back here on the strength of a 7-1 while doing a medical residency. The man is on a tear, so of course I want to see him win because we got to respect the streak, right?
That's the most impressive part of this, is that now he's down to what do you, if you're a medical resident, what's that, 70 hours a week or something, 60, 70 hours. So I don't know, his free time went from infinity to approaching 0, and he's still crushing it. I guess that's why he hasn't changed his deck, right? He's still running the Miser's White Knight in his 12-bolt list.
Yeah. And they're still resolving mulligans, and then once they get that all sorted out, I'll flash over to that, and we can check out some sweet gameplay. So
yeah, Seth mulligan once, I know that much. I think Robbie kept, and it looks like Seth is keeping. So we're ready to go once you announce it.
All right, gentlemen, you may begin whenever you are ready. All right, here we go.
Did Seth mulligan twice?
Yeah, it looks like Seth's on the double mull here in game 1, but he gets the play thanks to higher seeds, so maybe we get the benefit there. I mean, that's certainly a start.
I don't know. Given he double mulled, I'd rather be on the draw. I don't like his chances at all. Mox City ATOG, unless one of those cards in his hand is a draw 7, he's really in trouble.
I agree. I'd like to see a draw 7 here, but I mean, at least he had a fast creature start. But I don't know. We'll see what Robbie does. Oh well, That's a little unfortunate lightning bolt there, but
This makes me think he has a draw 7 because
Pearl,
otherwise he doesn't need a lot of mana.
yeah,
Right,
Pearl
he
and
could have sacked
Emerald. All right, so I'm hoping we get to see something out of Seth here and not just this factory, but I think that this game is going to be won on card advantage if it's won on anything. So with a double
Well,
mull,
especially, I mean, this game's over. Especially Seth doesn't have a draw 7, and he just played a 4-5. Game's
uh,
over. So
yep,
we can move on to game 2.
yeah, I think we're into the old
Yeah.
shuffle up here.
Yeah. I love most commentators aren't supposed to do things like that, but like let's be honest here. I mean, I guess Seth can chump with factory and bolt that, but he still has a factory and a 3-mana advantage and 4 cards in hand. So
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what we're playing to here necessarily.
we're playing for Seth to Mize bolt side blast, rip a draw 7, and get lucky on that. That's really all we
Yeah,
can
to just
do.
go like runner off the top.
Right.
Yeah,
Possible. Again, anything's possible. This is old school after all. He could also ancestral fixes a lot of problems, right? If he rips ancestral, all of a sudden it's a different game.
true.
But
Also, I will agree. Mana Birds Seth is at a huge disadvantage. Everything is so much smaller than Robbie's. I tried to get Whereby to display them the same size, but it would only display one of them much larger than the other. So balance into
proportionate.
ancestral. Maybe he's playing for the balance.
Right. I mean, balance will do some work here. I mean, it'll get rid of it's a synthetic mind twist. So yes, there's some restricted cards that Seth can draw, but he's drawing very slim.
It would need to be, I think, probably runner restricted cards at this point because it's just not looking.
I think a single restricted card could do it. It's close. All right,
All
so
right,
tutor.
DT.
So what do you get here? Like, depending on his last card, if he balances, he actually has to balance away 2 of his own lands, which is very sad. But if he has a card he can cast and he balances, he kills Urnham. They have factory, they have mana-ish parity, and
Yeah.
life-ish parity. So it could be that. Because the
It
last
could
card
be,
isn't a
'cause I
bolt.
don't know. It's yeah, it was balance. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, losing the lands kind of hurts, but getting to stay at synthetic parity, as you put it.
That's card basically has to be a side blast at this point, right? Because there's everything else he would have cast.
Yep.
He didn't play a land for 1 turn, I think. I think he missed a land drop. Maybe he didn't. It could be a land, I guess. But it's either a side blast or a land. Or is it ancestral? Did he have ancestral?
I mean, if you
tutor for
had the
balance.
ancestral, this is a galaxy brain.
It
play,
is.
So
Oh, it is. Oh, no, he's just sacking his lands. Okay, never
yep.
mind.
I don't know.
That would have been the play. Although if he had ancestral, I think he would have probably cast it before waiting to demonic tutor for balance. So
Something I've been thinking about a lot, actually, over the course of the last 18 months, since the last time you and I did this, we had a conversation that day about, is there a better demonic tutor, non-situational demonic tutor than Ancestral Recall? And we landed on no, unless you have the recall in hand. And I just, seeing him cast that demonic tutor, my immediate thought was just like, in this position, I know balance is right, but do you just go for the card advantage?
dude, I've come so around on balance to the point where I played 3-color Arabian aggro in this derby, and I felt naked because I didn't have a balance in my deck. Honestly, the card is unreal. It's right up there with ancestral and mind twist and library and all those cards.
Yep.
It's that good. It's in that tier. It's top 4.
I mean, I have seen it be actual just Mind Twist, parody on everything else, and Mind Twist when you cast this last card in your hand, then it just backbreaking. So, yeah, that's very
It's
real.
a jack of all. It can be its own mind twist. It can be its own Armageddon. It can be its own Wrath of God. It can be a million things. It can turn someone off library. It can turn an unwinnable game into parody, into a balanced game, as the name says. It does it all.
Symmetrical effects are fair
Yeah, exactly.
when
The
you
card's
can
so
control how symmetrical they are.
Yeah, yeah. The card is so good. Mike Van Dyke ran a random event a few years ago where you got to add 1 card from like Mirage to the old school pool and play a deck. And I just played 4 Mystical Tutor Turbo Balance just to tutor for balance and recall it a million times. Yeah, so there's the Side Blast that we called earlier. He obviously had that. I still think you attack, but whatever.
Yeah.
That was the most obvious Side Blast in history.
Quite so. But so we're back now. I mean, now we're at, well, I'm going to call it parody just because Robbie has more cards than Seth does, but it's,
He's up 10 life and 3 cards. So
yeah.
Maybe 2 cards at this
I
point.
think it's 2 cards at this point, but he's up 10 life in a couple of cards, and we've certainly seen situations where a Mishra's Factory will get there from this position, but I don't know.
Is Seth not attacking? I think he has to get greedy here and attack,
Yeah,
right? What does Robbie have?
what is he fearing? Like, obviously Lightning Bolt, but like
Robbie already cast 1. I think he has to just get lucky. He has to hope he doesn't have Bolt and start attacking.
the other thing
That's
is
weird.
Robbie binned 2 Trops with the balance, so we're not fearing green spells at all here really. Oh well, there's a Taiga on top of the Emerald, so.
But even so, what's he going to do? Berserk the factory? All right, fine, I guess.
Uh,
Is that what he's
hi,
doing? Is he scared?
sorry, I was responding to chat. Ithione, I'm going to choose to pronounce your name that way. I am Champ Blankman. Dan, I'm one of the founders of this channel, Superliminal Films, and then I have Old School's 3rd favorite podcast host, Brian Manalakis, here with me.
Fair.
I cannot quantify that. Just 3rd was the number that came to mind.
Yeah, it's a good guess. Good ballpark.
Okay. Now at least the mana starts to get a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
But
Why did Seth
why
not
now?
attack before?
Yeah.
I guess now he can sack it to the Tog, but like, I mean, whatever.
That feels like one of those I don't feel safe attacking, but I'm going to attack anyway kind of turns, and I'd never love those.
I mean, he can't not attack. I mean, that's what his deck does, and he still has 2 cards in hand. And Robbie looks like he's just flooding. He discarded 2 Trops.
He's playing a lot of land go.
He's playing mana. Does he have a Fireball in his deck? Let's see,
I don't have the list up, but
he does not have a Fireball. He actually doesn't have that much burn. He only has 8 burn spells, and he has useless cards like Vice, Ankh, and Winter Orb. So and Berserk at this point. So a lot of those cards are extremely blanky. Whereas Seth's deck is all fire at this point, literal fire.
yeah. So hopefully, I mean that's maybe something that we could get into here. A late game Seth just goes runner on gas, and Robbie keeps drawing mana, but I feel like
I think Seth's favored at this point. I'm sure that Robbie's on a blank or 2. And I mean, Seth drew what he needed. He drew a restricted card, right? He drew Tutor for balance, so he got there. Without that, he's dead.
I'm pretty sure this game's over by now, if not for that, because Robbie was just putting the pressure on, and
you can't kill a 4/5.
Yeah, the thing that concerns me from here is like, how long can Seth ride the luck, right? Like, does Tutor for restricted card on the other side of the battlefield do things here? Oof.
It does a lot of things. Yeah.
So let's see. All right, there's a Bolt. Bolt
This is
you.
scary. Lotus
Okay.
Lotus Bolt you. Okay.
But we know he doesn't have the Fireball, so
he must be going for a draw 7 here because he's.
Because that's not 2 bolts in the bin. So
Yeah. Right, he's going for the draw 7 because he's somehow thinks that, which he's right in that. Okay, Psy Blast. Okay.
All right. I mean, maybe it is just last card draw 7 and then hope to get lucky.
Yeah, he would have 4 outs. Or no, he had a lot of outs because he has the Lotus, so he has a million outs.
Yep. Yeah, even just that Psy Blast again.
But does Seth play a Mana Drain? Seth does play Mana Drain. So Seth, I'm like, why is Seth thinking here? There it is, Time Twister.
Yep.
So he does play Mana.
Drain.
He chooses to not tap his city.
Yeah, there was the Mana Drain into the into the concession.
He's dead too. Yeah, that's dead. He's dead.
Yep.
Wow. Well, balance does what balance does. What a surprise. Yeah, I don't know. That was actually a pretty interesting game. Robbie came out of the gates real quick, got way ahead. Seth double mulliganed into a situation where he needed to get lucky, and he got lucky, and that's old school for you.
It turns out restricted cards are still good.
Yeah. Robbie's Flood helped him a little bit in that it really evened out the mulligan because he drew probably 3 extra mana sources. And I bet actually, so he drew none of his blanks that game. His hand was all gas, right? He drew no Ankhs, no Winter Orbs, no Vices. So that, I don't know what's luckier, if that was lucky or unlucky overall on Robbie's part.
Yeah, I mean, I think, right, we have to consider variance from both players, and it just, if I were the kind of high production stream, like perhaps that Hasbro can afford to pay for, If we had the advantage bar, I think it would have
Yes.
started firmly on Robbie's side and then just spent the
Yes.
entire rest of the match sliding towards Seth.
It would have been a nice bump after the demonic tutor, but other than that, you're right. It would have been incrementally moving towards Seth. What are these guys doing in their sideboards? I'm looking at. Robbie has cards that he might care about. Not really anything, like literal nothing. Maybe a couple flash counters. I don't know.
But I don't. Do you want to take your foot off the gas to get to like leave up that for the flash counter? If
Well,
it's
you don't, but like Vice and Ankh and Winter Orb against Seth aren't very good Magic cards.
true,
You know, so problem is that turns your ATOGs. This is the quintessential problem with ATOGs, right? Like you play against another super fast 12-bolt aggro deck, all of your artifacts suck, and then your ATOGs start to suck if you take them out. So what do you actually do? The problem is he has no really good sideboard cards to bring in. So I don't know what he does. Let's look at Seth. That might be more interesting. What could Seth do here? I mean, he has some X spells. He'll probably bring in the control magic for Urnham Jins, and he'll probably. What does he cut? What are his obvious cuts?
so that's what I'm looking at. Is like what are we concerned about? Like what looks potentially dead here?
I mean, White Knight's actually like I would sideboard out White Knight every game because that card sucks. So that's an easy cut. But everything else, I don't know. Everything else seems pretty good. If you even want the draw sevens, you're a much faster deck, I think. Maybe I don't know. Maybe on the draw you could cut a draw seven. Does Robbie play both? He does. Maybe on the draw you could cut a draw seven. So we could cut White Knight draw seven for something like. He has a swords. He has a swords in his. He's definitely playing a swords. Jesus Christ, I didn't see that. So
And I mean, in the
he
same
definitely
vein
wants.
that we were talking about Robbie with the flash counter, do we maybe see the Reb?
No. Does he have a Beb? I don't think we see the Reb. He doesn't have very many red.
I don't
blue
see a
stuff.
Beb in the board, so
Right. I could see it just being like control magic and swords to plowshares for White Knight and one of his draw sevens on the draw. I could see that. But something like that. And Robbie's sideboard, Jesus Christ. I hate this. This is really what I hate about ATOG mirror ATOG matches against aggressive decks is
Yep.
that every card sucks. He's on the play here, so maybe he just does nothing and hopes to get him with an aggressive vice draw. You know, that's always possible.
you can be faster, right? Like the deck is capable of being faster than 12 bolt. It just, like you said, you just got to have the aggressive vice draw and just start putting points in. And I mean, we saw how fast he could put points in game one. It was just the question of that balance, right? Like that game's over if Seth doesn't draw the demonic tutor.
Sure.
You know, I think the I don't know if Vince is trolling you or not in the chat with does he take out Chain Lightning, but
I mean, it's possible he could shave a chain. He just doesn't have that much good stuff to bring in. You mean does
I think he was
does
talking about
Robbie
Seth.
take chain lightning? Seth probably wants chain lightning, right? I imagine like he only has the lions that really get him.
I think
he really
for
just
both
doesn't
of them,
want.
it's just count to 20, right? Like I think both of them, all it is count to 20. So I think burn spells need to be at pretty much maximum here.
It is the only issue is that Robbie's has a little bit of a glass cannon that he has to work a little bit to assemble his 20, but he's much more potent when he does. So I don't know, like Robbie. I think Robbie probably does nothing, like actual nothing.
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
At this point, so
I think Seth does those two cards. White Knight. White Knight's real. Like all of his creatures are outclassed. So White Knight's not doing what you wanted to do. There's no pixies and lions for it to block. So swords and control magic are pretty good magic cards. I would bring those in. That's it.
You feel like the upside of White Knight just gets completely erased here, and
The upside of White Knight said nobody ever.
hey, I have cast a White Knight or two in my day, so
I have two in limited in 1996.
So Vince is not a troll, wondering if Chain is a liability when Robbie has all that red and Seth has 7 dudes that can die to it.
Well, he's cutting the White Knight, right? So that's one less dude.
One less dude
Let's
to
see.
die to it. All right, so it
Sarah,
looks
I
like
mean,
Seth
ATOGs don't really die. Yeah, I could see cutting. I could see shaving one chain for sure. I agree. You can't cut them all, but you could shave one chain for something like, a divine offering, or maybe even that brain geyser, if this game goes long. But probably the divine offering, just to play it safe.
I'd love
It's always
to know
fast
how many
paced.
times he's brought in that Brain Geyser, because the curve is so low that that's one of those things where it's just like, do you hope if you just get stuck flooding out like Robbie did in the last game that you just have that geyser, or like, I don't know. This just doesn't feel like a side-in Brain Geyser often kind of deck.
It doesn't feel well. Here's where it comes in. So when you're playing against other super aggressive 12 bolt strategies, you cut your draw sevens, right? And
Right.
so those games become battles of attrition where you just trade, 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 and Brain Geyser is incredible in those situations.
That's
So that's
true.
where it comes in. It's so good that I think it should be in his main deck. Simon Christie's playing a very similar 8 creature 12 bolt list that's only about 3 or 4 cards different in this tournament, and he's also sideboarding a Brain Geyser. I disagree with both of these guys and would play it main over probably the 4th Chain Lightning. I think it's that good,
Mm.
but whatever. It's a marginal case. Reasonable minds can disagree on that one, but it has to be in the 75 just for those cases where you're in a war of attrition and you have to cut your draw sevens. All right, so Robbie Mulligans to 6 on the play. Seth keeps his 7.
Seth kept 7. Yep. All right. Right in the
Ew.
Sylvan Library.
Ew, that's in his main deck?
Apparently.
Oh, that card should have been cut. I would have cut those for literal anything else. Like literal anything. Flash counter, either blast, anything. The card is a 0 here. It's
Getting-
scry.
yeah.
It's scry 2.
It is pay 2, scry 2 on turn 2, and then just sadly look at the top cards you've already seen before.
Yeah.
I
Right. It's not even scry 2. It's just dig 2. It's brainstorm. It's a
Yeah.
2-mana brainstorm. Don't draw a card. Cool.
2 mana, wait a turn to brainstorm. Don't draw a
Yeah,
card.
yeah, exactly. He literally can never pay 4 against Seth's deck ever. He dies immediately.
Mhm.
I forgot. I glossed over those chain lightnings. Those should be gone for literally any spells. Probably one flash counter, one blast. Oh, he's playing Atog, so probably the blue blast. Seth's playing Atog.
Yeah.
The blue blast would be in his deck.
Because
Yeah.
like Sylvan Library definitely has a place, but it's not post board against your 12 bolt opponent.
Right, it's post board against the deck opponent. Although
Yep.
maybe not in this new deck world where every version plays 4 Sarahs and 2.5 Modis. So maybe Sylvan Library sucks everywhere now, as it rightfully should.
Yeah, just they finally decided the deck has finally morphed into a creature combat deck.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't have that on my 2022 bingo card.
Dude, neither did I. It's amazing the amount of brewing that is still going on decks that are like Wiseman started playing this deck in mid 20 or 1994, right? It's literally 28
years.
and a half years later, 28 plus years, and we're still tweaking the last few slots in this Wiseman deck. It's unbelievable.
So honestly, one of the things I want to point to whenever I hear somebody tell me like, "Oh, old school's solved," it's just like, well, is it though?
Yeah.
All right, it's a
Like, you
strip, but where's
You
your...
see the top 8 of the Summer Derby, like the decks. There's 7 new cards in these versions of the deck. There's 6.5 creatures in all these decks. They shaved homes, they shaved red cards, they shaved all their cities of brass and regrowth. So now they have basics for Blood Moon. They don't have to die to their own cities of brass. They can play their own bottles. It's a whole new world in the deck.
As someone who truly loves Blood Moon and loves blood mooning people, it did make me sad to see all the basic lands.
Same.
So
Well,
it
Blood
looks like
Moon
we're
isn't-
going for a bit of a prison-y approach here. Like, it looks like Robbie's actually trying to slow the game down with that Winter Orb.
He drew 2 blanks. Sylvan Library and Winter Orb do.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay against that Mishra's Factory. It'll do something there, but also does sack to Atog. So his artifacts, while terrible, do still let him berserk Atog, which he's fairly safe to do against Seth because he only has the 1 swords. So if he
Or
gets a
can
chance
just
to all
keep
in,
stripping him. We're halfway
Yeah,
to
I
an
guess-
EC game over here with the number of strips we've played.
we're all the way to a Tupac game.
True, I just learned about Tupac about an hour ago, so...
Yeah, it looks real hot. So Seth's on 0 lands. So, I mean, imagine if that Sylvan Library was an actual Magic card now.
Yep.
Like.
I mean, at this point, imagine if that Winter Orb was an actual Magic card, because...
Right. The problem is, like, what the actual Magic card would have been something like Flash Counter, which isn't doing a whole lot here anyway. But that Sylvan should definitely be something.
Yeah, because once again, Robbie's, quote unquote, developing the board, but Seth's still just hitting him for 2 every turn. You know, this is about to
Thinking
be
about
like
trading. He's thinking about trading his factory. I'm like, what is he doing here? He's got to trade this. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't let that lion deal 6 damage to you.
Yeah. I mean, he wants to wait a turn. Um,
So he can survive blocks,
pump
but
it. Yeah. But then if Seth draws a red mana and almost certainly has a bolt because he's sitting on a million cards.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Seth's got he's got a full grip. So, like, he's got plenty of time, plenty of cards, plenty of spells.
Yeah, what does Robbie need here? Robbie needs to just play an Urnimjin, right? Mana Vault, tap Mana Vault, Urnimjin, go.
Mm-hmm.
That's his best line here.
He has to be the bigger threat, and right now Ernie is going to be the difference because, as we discussed last game, how does Seth kill an Ernie? At least 2 cards.
Right, and with 1 mana, it's pretty tough. He presumably has his one sideboard Swords to Plowshares. Okay, he drew Urnimjin. Okay, so this is a
Magical
game.
Elm, because it had just been played the previous turn, so if animated, it still would have been summoning sick and could not have pumped itself.
Jesus Christ, Seth has Ancestral, as all great stories begin.
Yeah.
I cast Ancestral Recall.
Yep, I cast Ancestral Recall into my opponent's whatever is going on here and Urnimjin.
Yes.
I want to be rooting for Robbie just because he also has a lot of pretty cards in his deck, and I love pretty cards in the deck, but like,
yeah,
you're literally sitting on 2 blanks in this game.
Yeah, it's hard to root for anybody playing Sylvan Library in game 2 against 12 Bolt. It's really, really hard. As much as I'm really trying, I think I probably still am slightly, but it's extremely difficult.
Because we're still sitting at a place where now, you know, I would say, I'm not going to say the advantage bar is back to parity, but it's closer because the Ernie is there, and it's just going to start chipping away at Seth, or beating away at Seth. But
the funny thing here is that this clock is almost the same, right? Like Savannah Lion plus Mana Vault trigger is versus 4.
Yeah, 3 damage when your opponent's at 15 to 4 when you're at 20 is
very similar.
It's 5 turns and 5 turns. I might not be a high school math teacher, but I can do that math.
3 times 5, carry the 1. So what's funny is Seth did not draw a land off that Ancestral. He only drew a Mox. So he has no red mana and no other mana in his hand, unless he's like sandbagging a Lotus or something.
And no red mana, no other mana in his hand, but also not being affected by that Warb.
Wow, wheel.
Ooh. Oh, DT, Jade Statue.
So Seth brought in a Disintegrate.
Maybe
it's the only sideboard card I saw.
Yeah, maybe he was hoping for the game to go long, like we were talking about with the. I mean, that's an option, right? Like, instead of Brain Geyser, if you get a bunch of mana, just kill him.
Right. It seems better than Brain Geyser here, for sure. I don't love either one. Okay, drew Lotus off of this. What is this going to be? Is this Time Walk? Time Walk would be enormous.
It would be.
No. You talk Bolt your Lion? Oh, Soul Ring. Okay. Well, this was pretty good.
Yeah, and he'll get to untap the Mana Vault next turn. So
yes, that's pretty crucial.
Damage turns off now. Even through Winter Orb, he gets to untap it thanks to that Soul Ring. So
yeah, nice Winter Orb, bro. I guess it'll be Atog. He's gonna probably just block this Lion and gladly sack his own Winter Orb. That's my guess.
Robbie does have the life totals wrong. That is correct. Robbie has himself at 16 and Seth at 15 when it's actually the other way around.
Yeah.
Also, I love Robbie's enormous wooden dice. Very easy to read.
Very good for streaming. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, Guffey, and to the both people who've mentioned that, I think that is correct, that he took the total off of the wrong die when he did that, but maybe he's switched which dice he's using to represent that this game. Unless it comes up, I'm not going to say anything because I wouldn't want to influence this, as this is a relatively important match. But if Robbie thinks he's won by 1 point, we'll bring it up.
I'm not super worried about them not knowing what their life totals are.
I think both of them are competent enough Magic players.
Yes.
I don't know Robbie personally, but I have to assume to get to this point in the Summer Derby, you're a competent Magic player.
If he went 7-1 with 2 Sylvan Libraries in his deck, his IQ must be at least 140. So,
got to be higher than mine. That being said, I don't know what mine is, but I gave him his is higher than mine.
I know that's almost three. It's 2.5 standard divs up, so he'd be in the 98th percentile of intelligence to pilot a deck featuring 2 Sylvans to 7 and 1, which sounds about right. There's no other way to do it, right? Because your cards don't do anything, so you have to make the most.
Seriously tanking here. He did.
Yeah, which happens a lot with
mana,
the 12
but
lists.
yeah,
He's playing. He's scared, right? Like if Robbie has Berserk, he's dead.
Yep.
So there's like a lot. There's a lot. He just wheeled into God. Like actually, he wheeled and cast 3 cards, so he's only on 4 cards. But there's a lot going on here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot for Seth to think about.
12 Bolt plays out a lot like Burn and Legacy, where people, sorry, Type 1.5, where people look at it externally and go, oh, it's just throwing a bunch of damage at your opponent's head. How tough is that? And then you actually watch somebody play it and you're like, oh, no, it is actually tough.
Yeah. It's harder than it looks. Honestly, sometimes it's even harder than especially in like these sort of aggro mirrors where to point your burn. You just say go.
Yeah.
You just said go. Wow. Okay.
He's either bluffing the swords or actually has it, I think. All right, is Robbie going to untap the vault here? I think that's going to be a... Do you want the mana, or do you just sack it to...
I mean, given Seth said go, and he only has 3 mana, I think he can afford 1 point of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Just have some mana open and see what happens. King, oh wow, and he gets a fresh scry 2, a fresh dig 2 here.
Oh yeah, he actually does. That's a good point.
Over library paying off.
He drew himself out.
Yep. He rode himself out.
True, Seth couldn't attack with the lion because the swing out and bolt would kill him at that point too. So it doesn't need to just... I guess it's not just Berserk. It's swing all out, sack everything to Tog, and then bolt or Psyblast.
This is a really, really hard situation for Seth, right? Like there's so much uncertainty. And Robbie could have so many different things, and Seth can be bluffing so many things. Like he could have Mana Drain and swords here, or he could just have a random Psyblast, or he could have nothing. You know, like there's just this is a
Robbie paid 4.
Holy shit! He must be able to win this turn then.
Yeah, what he has to have something enormous if he just paid 4.
He has a Miser's Swords. Is there any world he has no Blue Blast? So it's swords or no.
Yep.
So, and does Robbie have did he bring in maybe a flash counter to possibly counter the swords? I don't know, but
I wasn't paying the closest attention, but I didn't see Robbie actually board anything in. My question is maybe Seth, or no, we saw the Mana Drain go in the discard to Wheel of Fortune, so Seth doesn't even have the Mana Drain. Time Walk.
Well, that's resolving. He doesn't have Red Blast, right?
He has the 1-of Counterspell, and that's it.
He has 1 red. He didn't bring. There's no way he brought Red Blast in though. So, but he has Mana Drain. Yeah.
Yep. Miser's Counterspell.
Yeah. Okay. And now, what's that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 plus. So he can't really go all in. I guess if he has a bolt, his dad, he's gonna chump. He's gonna just chump Tog. You like paying 4 there? Like I don't know, man.
It's 12 Bolt. Like
it's kind of how you lose an unlosable game, right?
Yep.
Like what was so important about that?
So he's going all out into the Tog, and he has the Berserk.
Do you have the swords?
Does Seth have the swords? Nope.
Okay, that's it. All right, he has the 1 swords. Okay.
Okay. Well, here we go.
Right, so maybe like Time Walk and Berserk were on top, right? So maybe
I guess,
the,
like you said, he wins this turn, right? Like he
can only do it if he's extremely likely to win this turn,
yep.
Which he basically had 2 must deal with cards, and he would have needed exactly Counterspell or Red Blast or Mana Drain plus swords, literally 4 1-ofs. So he would have needed 2 of Seth's 4 1-ofs to lose that turn or to not win that turn. So I think it's a pretty safe risk.
Strong as hell to be able to bait spell with a Time Walk too.
Yeah. Really like that play too of playing Time Walk before you attack so you know exactly what things you want to do during your attack phase. Yep. A lot of people would have attacked there and then Time Walked after they saw what happened, and it would have been a lot worse.
Yeah, he lined that up really, really well.
Yes.
Back to that part we were saying about him having a higher IQ than at least me. It was good sequencing, and I got to tell you, when I saw him pay 4, I was just like, well, this game's ending real soon, one way or the other.
Yep. Yep. All right, so Sylvan won. He's putting his Sylvans down. His draw. So now he's on the draw, right? So Sylvan atrocious. Draw sevens pretty darn bad. If he had to bring in some cards, what would he bring in? He would bring in like a couple of Miser's Blasts aren't the worst things in the world, right? Like he could bring in one red, one blue, one flash counter, something like that, and cut 2 Sylvans and one of his draw sevens. I think really you have to cut both draw sevens. I know that he has a lot of fast mana and mana vaults, and he's mana vaults. Maybe he can keep his one draw 7.
I just feel like the ceiling on them for Seth is so high that I don't know that I would. Like
Yeah.
obviously we saw the wheel work out really well for him in that game, but drawing any number of cards that include Black Lotus is going to work out pretty well for you usually. So
Yeah, that's a great point. He drew Lotus off of that, which changes the calculus. I think they both go, and the Sylvans go, and something like two Red Blasts. How many blue cards does Seth actually have? Because he doesn't have dibs, so he only has fucking 5 blue cards. Oh no, he's a 4 side blasts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He has 10 blue cards. So we can definitely bring in 1 red, 1 blue, 1 flash counter, and I guess probably the second flash counter for 2 Sylvans and 2 draw 7s. How about this? Is there a world where draw 7s, while not great against these 12 bolt strategies, of course, and way worse on the draw, maybe because of his vices and he has to leave in vices, maybe it's okay leaving 1 in the deck? Is that possible?
cast it as Lightning Bolt.
Well, I mean, he has to leave the vices in, I think, like because he doesn't have that many cards to bring in, and they still sack to Atog.
Yep.
But because the vices are in the deck, it's possible that leaving a draw 7 in is okay because they could turn on some dead vices on turn 6. You know, like that. Maybe that's what he does. Maybe he keeps 1 draw 7, and takes out 2 Sylvans, and 1 draw 7 for blast flash counter.
Yeah, and you just hope to have the vices, and then the damage that the vices do is better than the 7 that Seth draws.
Right, which is risky, and it's very, very likely you don't want to cast a draw 7, and drawing it is often going to be a blank, but I don't know. God, Seth is so good at drawing turn 1 Lion.
He really
so
is.
Good.
Let's see how much damage it can deal this game, considering it almost dealt 6 last game.
I know. Like, those decks are so much better when they play a Lion in turn 1.
Okay. Looks
Right,
like
so, I mean,
advice
we
to
knew-
me.
He had to keep those in. He just had nothing to bring in. It's really not a very good card at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's better than Sylvan Library, so.
Yep. It's got a point in.
Right, which isn't really what he wants, but he wants to sack it to his Berserk Tog very soon. He also led without... Actually, he probably would have led Factory over Colored Source there anyway, so that's fine. Alright, Seth has turn 1 Lion, both colors of mana.
Yep.
Seems to be humming.
He's doing what he wants to do. So we've seen, I think last game we saw pretty successfully Robbie being able to slow Seth down thanks to the, Tupac game worth of strip mines.
Yeah.
And I have to wonder if, like, it's obvious he's a slightly bigger mana deck anyway, so maybe that's what he always wanted, but that just felt like the right sequence into a draw 7 that benefited him from a mana perspective as well. Fun. All right. We just got kicked out of the room, so give me a second.
I want to tell them to pause, or can we not pause?
I don't know. I'm gonna try to get back as quick as possible. They would have gotten kicked out too, so.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Everyone will be needed to restart that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate nature of whereby now that it's free, you get free.
Yes. 45-minute limits. Yep.
Yeah, it's those 45-minute limits. Yeah, and the room is currently locked out. So,
Need another room?
They're going to have to find another room. We're going to have to get invited to it. So,
Okay. I can. Are they in it? Where are they both? Are they in a chat somewhere?
that I don't know. I just chatted Seth asking if they were going to another room. So,
Okay.
I imagine they're probably scrambling to find this out right now themselves.
Yeah. Let them figure it out because they're the ones playing, and then once they
Yep.
get the room, yep. Okay. In the meantime, how do we feel about this match? Seth's on Lion and 2 lands against Robbie's Mox Factory Vice. I guess we'll see what happens next turn.
Yeah. They're gonna use my Whereby Room. So, which I will give to you as well.
I'll close this room.
Someone just needs to pony up and let everybody, like somebody in the community just needs to pony up a big professional Whereby Room.
Just let everybody use it. Yeah.
Just let everybody use
Well,
it.
it's
Yeah.
only like $10 a month, right?
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
sell a couple.
I think
extra
the community.
turtles, Jared. Come on.
Yeah. All right, I'm here. I muted Seth.
Yep, I'm here and you're here.
You have to probably do a little bit of fidgeting on your end to get the stream up, I imagine.
Sir. Sir.
You're a professional streamer. I apologize. I withdraw my question.
I don't know that I'd go that far, but I was just prepared for this inevitability because Whereby kind of honks. So now we just we sit here on Seth's board state and hope that Robbie got the link and can get in here momentarily, and we should have plenty of time. I agree, by the way, our chat. Good old MTG misprint himself. Robbie needs a Tog or Ernie to stem the Lion bleeding, and I agree. I mean, he had two factories when everything went to shit, so maybe, like, I don't necessarily know if that slows it down, but I don't know if it's good enough, right?
Hold on, sorry. I'm bringing up the actual stream so I can see the chat.
Totally fine.
I apologize. What were you saying though? It's up now. I apologize.
What I was saying was that the two factories on Robbie's side versus the Lion for Seth. Agreed wholeheartedly. Going to be an awkward turn to block, and it's just going to be awkward in general. Oh, look. Looks like I actually got him the same size this time too. That's
wow,
nice.
Look at you! You are a professional. Your IQ, you could be busting through 140, honestly, with the way these.
I don't know about that. I think I just got lucky. Agreed, though. If Robbie tries to block and gets his factory bolted, it is going to be rough. So we'll see.
There's also the idea that he kind of doesn't want to give Seth a chance to do anything because the Vice is chipping in a little bit, right? So if he gives Seth a chance to use a bolt or a disenchant, he's all of a sudden under Vice. Not that this damage matters a ton, but it's something to consider. It might be the tiebreaker he needs to not throw his factory into a disenchant here.
Because that's the thing, right? Is like the
he said go. Seth said go.
So Seth's either trying to represent that he doesn't have anything, or is actually stone on nothing.
Don't you attack there even if you don't have anything? I don't think he blocks. Oh no, Sylvan Library! Come on, Robbie! Come on, dude!
No.
Yeah, that resolves, Seth. That fucking resolves. I know it's your favorite card too, Seth. Let it resolve. Oh my god.
Sorry about that. Just had to kick a camera out of the room so we could see that. I don't. Is he just riding high off of this card won me the game last game, or like?
A lot of people just don't quite understand Sylvan. I mean, there's a world that I don't understand. I might slightly undervalue it. I'm fully open to that, but I do know it's not good here on the draw against a 12-bolt deck. I know that much.
Yeah, so like I know. Obviously, we're not supposed to be results oriented, but this just seems like a huge case of being results oriented because. How many games do you pay 4 life against 12-bolt and just fucking die? Like, they untap and you're just dead. So, alright. So, disenchant on your attacking factory. Or your animated factory.
No. This was Seth attacking with Savannah.
Sorry, I'm off on the wrong turn.
Robbie went to block.
I'm yelling about the other thing. Yeah, so it was exactly the fear.
Yeah, which I feel like Seth... I mean, I don't know if Robbie blocked last turn. Maybe he's just putting Robbie on blocking and he didn't have it and he actually drew it.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
All credit to Seth for playing the Amy Weber proof disenchants too. They're gorgeous.
You talked about Robbie's deck being gorgeous, and it certainly is. It looks like those are beta dual lands. I agree. Seth has a pile of summer cards in his deck. That Savannah line you're looking at, if you don't know Seth, is not
Copyright
worth
1994.
Yes, it is a summer Magic Savannah line properly for the Summer Derby. He's playing, I don't know, upwards of a dozen summer cards.
Yeah. That's like all he kept when he got rid of a bunch of his black border stuff recently. So
Yeah.
he kept his expensive white border stuff and got rid of a bunch of black border stuff to help fund that medical residency we were talking about. All right, well, here's double white. So, Vince, you might see your white knight if he kept it in.
Oh God, if he plays a White Knight, please.
I'm fully ready for my my co-host here to have an actual aneurysm if he does cast white.
I almost had one. I almost had one at that Sylvan. I would actually. I might just die on the spot if we go Sylvan into White Knight.
Yeah. Can I have your podcast audience? I need like 36 people to follow my stuff.
Yes, you can have.
Your children can have all your tangible goods, but can I have your podcast audience?
You can. I'll sell you the rights real cheap.
Look, I know funerals are expensive here in New Jersey.
Dude, my funeral won't be. Fucking fry me. If anybody spends flowers
you in the Delaware River.
Yeah, dude, if anybody spends any money on my death, I will be so fucking upset.
All right.
So Seth did bring in a Miser's Divine Offering, like
and
we thought he might.
It's gonna benefit him here.
This
okay.
Gross.
Psyblast.
This is just like Seth is so advantaged. How bad are all of these cards? Black Vice, Sylvan Library, Psyblast, Draw Sevens, Winter Orb. Every card in Robbie's deck is terrible. Seth should win this match 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. If he doesn't, like he's probably, I don't know, upwards of 70%, and Robbie has to get lucky and do, draw 7 into Black Lotus into Berserk Time Walk things to win, which he did in game 2.
Yep, and it looked really good when he did it too, because he went from a middling position into just like, guess what, I can kill you next turn, and I mean, I guess Seth's game 1 victory was kind of like that too, where it's just kind of turned around over a couple of turns in his case and got there.
What's funny is as good as Seth's matchup is, if he doesn't draw Demonic Tutor, he loses this 2-0.
Yep.
And he just okay, well I guess I lost 2-0.
Yeah, guess I die.
Yeah. If he doesn't have Counterspell here, it really smells like Counterspell. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. And this is the value
That's
of having
Miser's Counterspell too.
I think he has 2.
Oh, he does.
But
he only had 1.
This is the value of having a few counters kicking around in your 12-bolt list to just do stuff like that. And that's what I was missing from my Arabian list. Like someone plays an Urim against me, and I'm just fucked.
Yeah, but then how many times, with your 1 over 2 of, do you just get to like, the late point in the game and you draw an irrelevant 1 of, and it's just like, well, that could have been an actionable card.
A creature or a something else. Yeah.
That could have been a piece of action. All right.
God, that's Savannah. I mean, how good does this deck look? Like, Robbie would be at 18 right now if Seth didn't have a Savannah line. Like, these decks just look so much better.
Seth's had 1 Lion do 10 damage over the course of the last 2 games.
Yeah.
4 and then 6. So
this is against a deck with 4 bolts and 2 chains. Like a lot of ways to kill a turn 1 Lion.
Yeah. We haven't seen bolts out of Robbie since game 1. Like I think he played 1 in game 2, and I feel like that could change the texture a whole lot here too. Like just seeing more burn.
No.
Instead of just seeing giant piles of mana all 3 games.
And this is why it's so impressive that Robbie went 7-1. Like none of his cards do anything, and he's 7-1.
Draw them all in the right order and stick an Ernie pretty quick, and things start to look a little different though.
Right.
Because what is it, 3 or 4 times so far this match we've talked about, okay, what does Seth need to do if an Ernie's there and he can't kill it? He's 2, possibly 3 cards to kill it.
Right, and twice the Ernie, well, he had a balance. He drew a restricted card to kill it once. He had a counterspell once, and the time he didn't deal with it, he lost to it. Mm-hmm.
So that's how Robbie's 7-1 is just a big dumb idiot that your opponent can't answer sometimes just wins you the game.
Yeah, man, I struggled against a ton of Urnimjins in my matches in this tournament. Like a 4/5 is very hard for a lot of decks to deal with, which is exactly as Garfield intended.
Yep. Yeah, not a lot of terrors kicking around.
That factory isn't sick, right?
No, shouldn't be.
The flash counter would be insane here, right? Seth's obviously going to try and kill this factory.
Yep. Yeah, being able to get into that counter war seems pretty good.
Like, imagine if this Sylvan was a flash counter. Oh.
I would like to imagine that.
Just like I don't understand.
Same artist,
like people. Right, exactly. Wow. Oh god, like Flash Counter is an unreal blowout here.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he doesn't have it because he wouldn't be thinking. Is this?
Oh.
Oh, he's side blasting. Gross.
Go blast the other way.
Is he side blasting Seth? So Seth is tapped out here, and Robbie has him at 7, and he's presumably has maybe a bolt in hand, and he's hoping to draw a restricted card, a draw 7, or like a bolt or a side blast to finish him off. Mike, no, if he has bolt here, he's got to be bolting one of those guys, right? He can't have a lightning bolt by now. So scratch that.
Yeah, so it's 6 to 7, and
yeah.
I just don't.
And Robbie has to get lucky. He has to like draw Ancestral or draw 7. Like draw 7ing right now into a tapped out Seth could do a lot of work.
I mean, this is that. Okay, he didn't do it, but this is that other time when library actually matters.
Oh my god, did he rip the bolt?
Did not.
No.
Just...
Oh, this bolt side blast, or is he gonna draw 7 with an attack and draw 7 with a vice in play?
Yeah, Twister.
Yeah, exactly what we talked about.
So Seth has to draw bolt and get him with the vice trigger on the stack.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it's amazing what Robbie's doing with these, and so this is exactly what we talked about though, right? With this Black Vice, it did 2 or 3 damage early in the game. It could have got, heaven knows if he turned on an ATOG, it would have been, if he played an ATOG, it would have been solid.
And now it might just be lightning bolt.
Could randomly. So what did Robbie bring in? Nothing. He must have brought in 0 cards. All of his worst cards are still in his deck.
Yeah, I think Robbie played that. No, that Trop was out. So no, I don't think Robbie's played a land yet this turn either.
Right, he's not played a land. So he can play land Side Blast. He can play Time Walk. He can play Bolt, attack you with Factory, Chain, attack you with Factory, or just win via the Vice. He can do a whole lot of stuff here. Who's favored here? He's favored, right?
It's got to be Robbie.
He's got to be favored, but not by a lot. I haven't done the math. My IQ is probably only in the mid 130s, but I imagine he's mildly favored.
I'm gonna say it's probably a little bit higher than mildly, just because he has the potential for minimum 3 mana, assuming he draw one of those 7 cards as a land. And Seth's tapped out, right? Like Seth is perfectly at Robbie's mercy, and the thing is, Robbie needs to deal 1 point to him and pass the turn, and hope that Seth doesn't have bolt during the upkeep.
7.
Why have we flipped an Ankh? I don't understand.
Is he conceding? What is going on here?
Did he just brick? What the fuck was
he drew
that?
Factory. He's gonna put Seth to 1.
I don't understand the flipping the Ankh off the top.
I think he thought that he lost the game, but he forgot he has Black Vice. So he can win with his Black Vice. He can put him to
Well, with Seth having a full hand, the only thing that matters is any damage. He didn't attack.
What?
What?
What is going on here?
Are they both forgetting the Black Vice?
Oh my god, this match.
Did Seth just not take anything off the Vice? Chaos reigns.
I don't understand. I like if Robbie attacks for 3, puts him to 1.
Puts Seth to 1, and then again he's in the same boat where, as long as Seth doesn't have Lightning Bolt in his hand during the Vice trigger.
Are we in like some bizarro world? We're watching the same match, right? Like
we're both watching the same match. I don't know if they're playing the match we're watching.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yes, Steve. Seth was at 4, and he should be at 1.
What happened to Seth's life total?
He texted somebody, I think, or brought up Oracle text for something. I don't know, but he also just played a Mox and a land, and is he?
Oh should be God. At 1. They should die. We should actually tell them.
No, he'd be at 1. Oh wait, he has that's a side blast.
Hold on, we got to talk to them. Hold on.
Yeah, get in there.
I missed the trigger. let me just see. So I go to 1.
Yep, they figured it out.
I don't care about it.
I apologize completely.
It's really okay. It's really okay.
So
I didn't mean. I just forgot that the device was in play. I apologize completely.
So then what, guys, what happened? What happened there?
Anyway, without color mana. I had the Sonic Blast and I had Bolt, but I only had colorless land, so it...
Yeah, because I drew, that was the card I drew. This was my hand, a 7. And so that's why, like, when I drew it, I knew I had you dead.
Guys,
I was looking at my phone to see if you had, what white spells you could possibly have.
I know. But...
Well, from the looks of things, chat, it looks like Seth's taking the win. Mano's talking to him now to try to sort out what happened with the trigger and what's going to happen going forward. I muted it just because there's a lot of feedback, but we're trying to figure something out. And from the sounds of things, it doesn't necessarily look like Robbie is overly concerned that he... Oh. No, Steve, you're not missing anything. If Robbie had attacked with the Vice, he would have been fine. Well, he would have gotten Seth down to low enough. And yeah, Seth had instant speed damage during the upkeep. So he just sequenced it incorrectly. Yeah. The sequencing ended up being incorrect. Yeah, Wazarier, but the point that Seth is making and the point that Mano's in there talking to him about now is that Seth's damage sources, which were 7 points of damage from a Psyblast and a Lightning Bolt, were at instant speed. So with the trigger...
Yeah.
So Wazarier actually makes a really interesting point in chat that Seth... didn't actually have the mana to do that in the upkeep, but it didn't matter because Robbie didn't attack. So
I didn't have the mana.
he did have the mana, didn't he?
He did? I thought you played the Tundra this turn.
No, he had Plateau. He had Plateau and 2 Volks and a Factory in play for sure. He had all that in play.
Which is 4 mana.
I Side Blasted to tap out after I attacked the factory.
He only needs 4 mana. He needs Psyblast. Psyblast is 3 and Bolt.
Yeah, Psyblast and Bolt. Yeah, okay, sorry. Bad mental math, and I'm listening to chat.
Don't listen to chat.
No. Yeah.
No, and also, again, if Robbie attacks, it's different, but he didn't, so.
Yeah.
I was distracted looking at my phone, bringing up his deck list because I didn't want to be a.
Seth, you're all good. I'm gonna mute you guys again. You're fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna.
I feel bad. Sorry about that, man. I really feel shit about that.
No, don't feel shitty. I mean, we all forget that, and it didn't change the game. So okay. All right, so they're muted. Dan, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. No, folks in chat, here's how it goes. Robbie did not attack. Seth was at 4. Seth untaps, has 4 mana, is at 4, uses that 4 mana to deal 7 points of damage to Robbie, goes to 2 off of the Psyblast, but Robbie is dead with the trigger on the stack.
Right. Had he attacked for 3, it would have been a draw, and we'd be playing a game 3 right now.
The game 4. But
in a game 4.
So then in the end, Seth wins, and it just looked rough because you and I had already built the line in our heads that Robbie's going to attack, and then Seth has to do all this during the upkeep, and it can't be a Psyblast or else he's dead.
Right. And in addition to all of that, they randomly went through the Vice trigger, which obviously happens. I've forgotten Vice triggers. Like I have no qualms with that, but you obviously have to walk it back.
I forgot a Vice trigger that would have won me the game the last time I played Vice in my deck. I had 2 out, and I just let my opponent go through the turn and kill me without even thinking about it.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess... Oh, wait, with your own Vices?
Yeah, They were my Vices, and I could have killed my opponent, and I was just like, nah, no need for that. No need to win games of Magic. Why the fuck would you do that?
Holy shit. All right. Well, I'm not sure if that was kind of a downer of a way to end this.
But it
although
was
I
a
guess
hell
it
of
did
a
save
match
us.
otherwise.
It was a surprisingly fair match. I think Seth is a monster favorite in this match.
Yep. Mold
And,
of 5
it
into...
did not play out that way.
Yeah. He deserved it for leaving in Sylvan Library.
Did. Like, that's 100% true. If that Sylvan was flash counter, which is exactly the change I was espousing, he also wins the game. Right? So I hate to like rub salt in the wound on an actual live stream. I don't think anyone's ever gonna watch this, but like this was fucking rough, man.
As far as people watching it, we've had about 40 to 50 people in here the whole time. So
Jesus, I hope
Thanks,
he
Vince.
maybe you don't release this because all right, I'm done talking about it because I honestly feel bad at this point.
yeah, I mean, look, it wouldn't be us streaming it if some controversy didn't follow us. So
Let's instead talk about, let's try and look at the glass half full, and again talk about how amazing it was that he piloted a Berserk ATOG list to 7-1, and basically, other than Seth drawing a restricted card on his second to last turn, and or making a small error in sideboarding and or gameplay, the last play would be in the top 8 of the Summer Derby. That's
exactly.
insane.
He wins his top 16 match, but for restricted cards. And how many times have we seen restricted cards do exactly that? So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also he also won game 2 on the back of multiple restricted cards, so it's pretty fair.
Yeah, and he won game 2 in a cool looking way too, right? Like he cast a draw 7 and got some cool powerful cards off of it, and then paid 4 life against 12 bolt with a Sylvan Library. So
a lot of not intuitive lines and stuff that you don't see very often. Happened this match, and it was a real good old-fashioned match of Magic the Gathering, again, as Garfield intended, right? Big creature ATOG Berserk against small creatures and burn, a matchup for the ages, and it delivered in a million ways.
Truly classic. Also, Vince, thank you for the compliment. I think I'm going to go ahead and drop offline here. Thanks for checking it out, folks. Thanks for coming by and hanging out in chat. Saw a couple of people in chat and in the stream who are regular viewers of my stream, who might not be overly familiar with Old School. So I'm endeavoring, now that my very small child is about to be 2 and slightly less reliant on me for all parts of life, I'm endeavoring to bring some more Old School back to this channel. So hopefully we'll get to see more here in the short term. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you for a massive pile of follows that we got today. From 4 Horsemen MTG up through Vince, yourself, got about like 15 follows today, so thank you all very much. Mano, thanks for coming along. I know I said this last time we did this, but we really have to do this again sometime.
We 100% do, and I'm sure that we will. I like streaming with you, and I'm sure we'll be doing it at the very least at a pre-modern tournament near you soon.
I very much hope so. All right, everybody, thanks a lot, and until next time. Bye, everybody.